Imagine opening your window early one morning, looking up and seeing a giant manifestation of God suspended in the sky. Immediately after, the whispers of God resound through heaven and earth, causing countless people around you to fall into a frenzy, abandoning their ethnicities and nations one after another to follow this mysterious power that is supposedly saving humanity. This is not a sci-fi movie plot, but the core scenario of Project Bluebeam, a theory that has circulated for 30 years and is firmly believed by tens of millions of people. And this seemingly miraculous descent of Project Bluebeam has only one core purpose: for NASA and the United Nations to join forces to destroy human faith, national consciousness, and state sovereignty through three major methods: holographic God creation, mind control, and a fabricated doomsday. This is done to establish an all-controlling one-world government, thereby achieving the ultimate enslavement of all humanity by a small group of elites. To understand the birth of Project Bluebeam, one must first understand its creator, Serge Monast. According to public records, Monast was born in Quebec, Canada, in 1945. In his early years, he was a somewhat well-known local journalist, mainly engaged in local news reporting. Monast's early reporting style was relatively pragmatic, focusing primarily on social issues and local politics in Quebec, and did not involve any conspiracy theory-related content. But starting in the 1980s, Monast's thinking gradually began to shift. He developed a strong sense of distrust toward mainstream media, government agencies, and international organizations, believing that these institutions were colluding to hide the truth and deceive ordinary people. The background of this shift is closely related to the global social context of the time. In the 1980s, the Cold War was drawing to a close, and the US-Soviet superpower rivalry was gradually loosening. But political anxiety, economic volatility, and social conflicts on a global scale had not dissipated. At the same time, the rapid development of technology also brought a series of unknown fears. For example, the threat of nuclear weapons, controversies over genetic technology, and the mystification of space exploration all caused ordinary people to have deep concerns about technology spiraling out of control and authorities abusing their power. Against this backdrop, various conspiracy theories began to rise. Concepts like the New World Order and aliens colluding with the government gradually circulated among the public, and it was precisely in such an environment that Monast gradually sank into the vortex of conspiracy theories. Starting in the mid-1980s, Monast abandoned traditional news reporting and turned his focus to exposing conspiracies. He founded his own tabloid, Lumière sur la conspiration mondiale, which was dedicated to publishing various conspiracy theory articles covering government secrets, alien civilizations, mind control, and more. He believed that there was a secret global organization composed of financial oligarchs, political elites, and scientists. The goal of this organization was to establish a one-world government, which is the so-called New World Order. To achieve this goal, they had to destroy humanity's existing belief systems, national identity, and social structures, making humanity voluntarily submit to their rule through mind control, fear manipulation, and other means. By 1994, Monast compiled his years of research results and published a pamphlet titled Project Bluebeam, systematically proposing the complete concept of Project Bluebeam for the first time. In this pamphlet, he claimed that Project Bluebeam was a global mind control project secretly executed jointly by NASA and the United Nations. Its core objective was to manipulate the thoughts and behaviors of all humanity through a series of high-tech means, ultimately achieving a unified global rule. However, just as Project Bluebeam was gradually spreading, Monast's life came to an abrupt end. On December 5, 1996, Monast passed away at his home in Quebec, Canada. The official cause of death was a sudden heart attack, but in the eyes of conspiracy theorists, this explanation became ironclad proof that Monast was silenced for exposing the truth. They claimed that Monast's heart attack was artificially induced, an assassination carried out by agencies like NASA and the United Nations to prevent the truth of Project Bluebeam from being known by more people. Therefore, Monast's passing not only failed to stall the spread of Project Bluebeam, but rather, because of the rumors of him being silenced, It increased the credibility of its narrative, attracting more people to pay attention and believe in it. Furthermore, the Project Bluebeam booklet left behind by Manas detailed the core content of Project Bluebeam, dividing it into 4 stages, each with clear goals and implementation methods. First, the first phase of Project Bluebeam was defined by Manas as the dismantling of traditional belief systems and the destruction of humanity's spiritual foundation. He claimed that this phase was the foundation of the entire plan, because human beliefs, whether religious, national, or cultural, are the core forces that sustain social order and unite humanity, and they also represent the greatest obstacle to the establishment of the New World Order. Only by destroying humanity's existing belief systems, plunging people into spiritual confusion, and stripping them of spiritual anchors, could humanity become easier to control and more willing to accept the rule of the New World Order. In this phase, Manas claimed that NASA and the United Nations would use 2 primary methods to dismantle humanity's traditional beliefs. The first method was the fabrication of archaeological discoveries to overturn existing religious doctrines and historical understanding. He claimed that NASA would secretly collaborate with archaeological institutions around the world to fabricate a series of archaeological evidences that would supposedly prove that existing religious doctrines are false and that humanity's current understanding of history is fundamentally wrong. For example, they would fabricate the remains of Jesus to prove that the Christian doctrine of the resurrection is a lie. They would fabricate fake relics of Buddha to prove that the core teachings of Buddhism are fictional. They would even fabricate remains of ancient civilizations to prove that humanity's origins are not as described by religion, but instead come from extraterrestrial civilizations or were created by the ancestors of the New World Order. Manas also described in detail how these fabricated archaeological discoveries would be disseminated. NASA would gradually release these so-called archaeological evidences through mainstream media outlets and academic journals, while simultaneously buying off a group of scholars and experts to provide academic endorsement, convincing the general public of their authenticity. He claimed that these fabricated discoveries would trigger a global religious crisis and ideological chaos, causing countless believers to lose their faith and leading humanity to deeply doubt its own history and culture, thereby destroying humanity's spiritual foundation. Once humanity had fallen into confusion, they would then artificially create natural disasters to reinforce the illusion of divine wrath. Manas claimed that NASA had already mastered weather control technology capable of creating earthquakes, floods, typhoons, droughts, and other natural disasters through artificial intervention. NASA would deliberately create various natural disasters across the globe, especially in regions with strong religious atmospheres and deeply rooted faith. At the same time, through media outlets and religious figures, NASA would interpret these disasters as punishment from God, claiming that humanity had been punished for defying God's will and holding incorrect beliefs, thereby further shaking religious faith and plunging humanity into fear and confusion. According to Manas, the goal of this phase was to cause humanity to lose faith, lose direction, and lose cohesion, creating favorable conditions for subsequent mind control and global unified rule. The second phase of Project Bluebeam, according to Manas, was the core of the entire plan. He claimed that in this phase, NASA would use its cutting-edge holographic projection technology to project massive 3D holograms into the skies around the world, simulating the appearance of divine miracles, combined with sound simulation, causing humanity to believe that God had truly descended and to willingly obey God's commands. This God, in essence, would be a puppet controlled by the New World Order. Manas' description of this phase was extremely detailed and highly science fiction-like. He claimed that NASA would use satellites, ground-based laser emission stations, atmospheric reflection devices, and other equipment worldwide to construct a global holographic projection network. Through this network, NASA would be able to synchronously project massive 3D holographic images across the global sky with extremely high clarity, allowing people around the world to see the same miracles at the same time. Alternatively, different miracles could be projected based on the cultural and religious characteristics of different regions to achieve maximum deception. Specifically in regions such as Europe and North America with strong Christian cultural influence, NASA would project holographic images of Jesus and Virgin Mary. The holographic Jesus would speak, delivering God's will, telling people that the New World Order is God's arrangement, and that humanity should submit to its rule, abandoning its own faith and national identity. In regions such as Asia, where Buddhism and Taoism are prevalent, holographic images of Buddha, Guanyin, and Laozi would be projected, similarly conveying commands to submit to the New World Order. In regions such as the Middle East with strong Islamic influence, holographic images of Allah and Muhammad would be projected to guide local populations into obedience to the New World Order. In addition, in regions without a dominant religious belief, NASA would project holographic images of extraterrestrial envoys, claiming that alien civilizations are guiding humanity toward unity and that humanity should submit to their arrangements. Monist further claimed that the projection of these divine miracles would last for several days or even weeks, allowing humanity to fully experience the presence of God and become completely deceived. He claimed that when these miracles appeared, people around the world would fall into a state of fanaticism and panic, gathering together to pray for divine protection, while God would seize the opportunity to issue commands demanding that humanity abandon nations, abandon ethnic identities, abandon faith, and join the embrace of the New World Order. He even predicted that this phase of miracle projection would trigger global religious frenzy, with countless people abandoning their normal lives to follow divine guidance, providing a powerful mass foundation for the establishment of the New World Order. The third phase of Project Bluebeam was defined by Monist as mind control to achieve the unification of human thought. He claimed that after humanity had been deceived by divine miracles and its spiritual foundation had been destroyed, NASA would employ more advanced mind control technologies to directly intervene in the human brain, controlling human thoughts and behavior. Through this, the unification of all human thought would be achieved, turning humanity completely into puppets of the New World Order. Monist claimed that the mind control technology possessed by NASA was an upgraded version developed from the Cold War era MK-Ultra program. Its core relied on high-tech means such as low-frequency electromagnetic waves, sound waves, and brain-computer interfaces to directly transmit signals, commands, and thoughts into the human brain, thereby altering human cognition, emotions, and behavior. Monist also described in detail how this mind control technology would be implemented. NASA would use satellites and ground-based transmission stations worldwide to emit low-frequency electromagnetic waves into the Earth's atmosphere. These waves could penetrate the human body, act directly on the brain, interfere with brain waves, and alter human patterns of thought. Specifically, these low-frequency electromagnetic waves would be divided into two types. One type would be emotional control waves, capable of directly influencing human emotions, pushing people into states of fear, anxiety, fanaticism, or numbness, thereby causing them to lose independent thinking and become more receptive to external commands. The other type would be thought implantation waves, capable of directly implanting the ideology, concepts, and commands of the New World Order into the human brain, leading people on a subconscious level to accept the rule of the New World Order, obey its commands, and even regard the interests of the New World Order as their own highest interests. In addition, Monist claimed that during this phase, NASA would also secretly promote brain-computer interface devices and smart wearable devices on a global scale. On the surface, these devices would be presented as tools to make human life more convenient and enhance human capabilities, but in reality, they would serve as instruments of mind control. Through these devices, NASA would be able to control the human brain with greater precision and monitor human thoughts and behavior in real time. If anyone were found to be resisting, questioning Project Bluebeam, or disobeying the commands of the New World Order, their brain would be directly interfered with through these devices, or even have their consciousness destroyed in order to eliminate dissent. Monist claimed that the mind control in this phase would be comprehensive and without blind spots. Regardless of age or gender, elderly or children, men or women, and regardless of status, rich or poor, officials or civilians, everyone would fall within the scope of mind control and be unable to escape. He stated that the goal of this phase was to achieve a high degree of ideological unification across all humanity, with everyone recognizing the rule of the New World Order, obeying its commands, and no longer expressing any resistance or doubt, thereby clearing all ideological obstacles to the final establishment of the New World Order. The fourth phase of Project Bluebeam was described as the final stage of the entire plan. Serge Moniz claimed that after humanity's spiritual foundation had been destroyed, after people had been deceived by divine miracles and subjected to mind control, NASA and the United Nations would take the final step, manufacturing doomsday panic, triggering global chaos, and then seizing the opportunity to introduce a single world government, thereby achieving total control over humanity and completing the establishment of the New World Order. According to Moniz, the core method of this phase would be the fabrication of an alien invasion, or the fabrication of an apocalyptic end-time scenario. Through holographic projections, sound simulations, and engineered natural disasters, humanity would be led to believe that the end of the world was imminent or that extraterrestrial civilizations were invading Earth, thus triggering panic and chaos on a global scale. Moniz claimed that whether it was a fake alien invasion or a fake apocalyptic scenario, the purpose was the same: to provoke worldwide fear and disorder. In the midst of panic and chaos, humanity would lose reason and order, desperately seeking protection. At that moment, the secret organizations behind the New World Order would step forward through international institutions such as the United Nations, claiming to take control of the situation. They would declare that only by establishing a single world government could humanity unite its strength to resist the alien invasion or survive the end of the world. Under these circumstances, governments around the world would be forced to surrender their sovereignty and join the single world government. Global military forces, economies, media systems, and educational institutions would all come under the control of this single world government. It would then introduce unified laws, a unified currency, a unified language, and a unified belief system, achieving a high degree of unification for all humanity. Those who resisted or refused to obey would be labeled as heretics by the single world government and subjected to severe suppression and elimination. Moniz further claimed that once the single world government was established, Project Bluebeam would be officially completed, and humanity would enter a new era. An era with no wars, no conflict, and no poverty, but also no freedom, no independent thought, and no faith. Humanity would become complete puppets of the New World Order, manipulated by a small elite, indefinitely and forever. Finally, although Moniz himself described the contents of Project Bluebeam in detail in Project Bluebeam, he did not provide any credible evidence. He offered no official documents, no technical reports, and no eyewitness testimony to prove the existence of Project Bluebeam. However, it is also difficult to dismiss the concerns reflected in the theory. Warnings about technology spiraling out of control, fears of the abuse of power, and the insistence on preserving individual freedom and belief as mere absurd fantasies. Perhaps the answer has never resided in a single absolute conclusion, but rather in each person's search for truth, in the examination of fear itself, and in the enduring struggle between technology and human nature, power and freedom.